Good. Um, I
Everybody extra dice. One for today.
+1 die for your pool.
Right.
And I saw Renee's new words, which are fantastic. And we are moving now into a fairly secure time. I mean, you have your new occupancy, right? You have your new area to expand into. You have a certain amount of stability in the social interactions. Stability in the sense of less conflict, but not in terms of change. I mean, the changes are occurring among lots of the hatchlings, and the nature of the. I mean, I think Hatch is not the only one who is producing specific new morphology for different functions or approaches to things. And also the supplies that you did manage to bring back from the ship have a lot of developmental potential, right? That's part of your point, was to bring as much of the biochemistry that you needed back. So that's actually going to help in terms of stabilizing things, so that you don't just get this massive, who knows what mutation for who knows what, effect randomly across the entire bunch of hatchlings, which probably there's a word for that in Hiver, right? For that,
right,
as a problem. And so, I don't know, the flux or something like that, right? You don't want your population to undergo flux. So, with all that in place, whatever hazards come along, you can all be on your watch. You can also, you can say, all right, we know we have these weather effects. We know that we have these, potential predators or creatures. We know we have passageways through, this whole complex that we need to monitor or understand better. But I don't think that you'll have any problem doing that. All the roles have been in place, so everything is reasonable. I don't see any particular reason in rolling for wandering monsters or anything of the kind. Not that your characters wouldn't be able to see coming and deal with. Particularly now that you have an energy source. Particularly now that you have, you're aware that the storms actually power, these rocks, these formations. And since you did bring back some battery storage, as I recall, that means that you don't just depend on the storms, you can actually store it and utilize it in a regulated way. So within a very short period of time, this place is recognizable as a technologically, supported, small hive. Much more so than anybody, probably, even yourselves, probably could have guessed upon arrival, when you were basically a bunch of, ragged crash survivors. Let's get some idea, though, of what your characters are up to. If it is different from routine, I can think of a couple of things that you might turn to as you continue to feel more secure, but I'd rather ask you.
And I'm assuming some time has passed since the last game?
Correct. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Does anyone want to go before I do, before I charge up?
I have an idea, but I don't have to be first.
Okay.
Someone has to be first.
Well,
it's going to be you.
That's right. That's right. Well, in that case, what I'll do is every other day, I try to go out and look for any survivors. And I do that for like the next week, is just go out and look because I need to get everyone back who I can. After probably a few weeks, I'll probably stop but in that time, I'm just going out, I'm leaving trails back. I'll go out in this direction, leave like a little navigation trail back to the hive, go this way, leave a navigation trail. And
I see. Right.
Just basically put up mile markers or something saying hive this way.
Right.
Right. So that's what I'm doing because I feel that my character is the best equipped to do it. And in the meantime, I will try to train the new Annihilator Protectors and get them so that they're not. I don't want there to be any weird political parties, so I'm trying to subsume them into the greater whole and be like, okay, listen, we're all in this together. There's no, newbie, Hiver, queen thing. It's we're all one whole. We all have different purposes, but we are, one colony. Is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to nip this in the bud before I see this, getting weird.
There he goes again, talking about unity and harmony again.
Yeah, exactly.
Old bore.
That's right.
Okay, so how about the...
Told you it wasn't me.
That's right. Hey, you kids.
Mm-hmm. So, Helma and Renee?
Go ahead, Helma.
Okay, I have by now also 1 or 2 little apprentices. That's the idea, and we are trying to find minerals, ores that can be mined and put to use to make equipment for the hive. Because I'm thinking long term, setting this up as something independent and something that can continue to survive on this planet.
Now, your original survey that identified this area as potentially, as a potential hive site, I'm certain included that kind of assessment. But that doesn't mean you know exactly where to get it right here, right?
Yeah.
So,
and I want kind of try to figure out where's the perfect place to start a mining operation, and then maybe even find others that will be able to produce things if I show them what we already have.
Right.
Like reverse engineering.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Things like that.
Okay.
Being a little bit more practical.
Right. Excellent. That also... That seems to be in the same sort of time frame that Jerry's talking about too. How about our Hatch?
So Hatch is very wanting to make the environment safe for everybody. So anything to help plug up all the holes and weaknesses of our new home is what she'll be doing.
Okay.
Working with whoever's in charge of that, and just kind of exploring these tunnels and making sure they, are sealed off. But if there's anything useful at the end of them,
right,
he's very interested in that as well.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense too. Kind of wondering how. Okay, the way the pool works, this actually is sort of an opportunity for a role to make a difference, because say you succeed in a role, and if you choose to narrate, then you can talk a little more, you can sort of take a little farther, and come up with something, really good for the hive. Whereas a failure kind of lets us know what this particular young hive's deficiencies are going to be. So this is kind of a good opportunity to sort of shape the limitations and advantages of this this starting point. So I do think roles are called for. They are independent of one another. You're all doing different things. And you can pick whatever traits you would like. Given what Helma said, and the fact that I think you certainly would have known that the right materials are geologically present. Therefore, 3 dice makes a lot of sense. You're really just finding the best way to locate them and teach about processing them. For the other 2 dice. Certainly, you're not in any major danger while you're doing this, and you are. But on the other hand, you're dealing with the unknown. So.
Yeah.
And it's a dangerous place. So, what kind of traits are we talking about?
Let's see. Protect the new colony at any cost, even his own. Maybe that's what I'm doing as I'm going out. And
that sounds fine. You
searching
understand
for the rest of
failure would entail some injury and attrition, correct? Given that trait.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, because I'm out there
Right.
in the lightning and the,
Right.
swamp gas, whatever's out
Right.
there. So, yeah, there's 2 for that one, 2 from you. And
Avalanches,
2 from
magma,
yeah.
predators.
Rock falls.
Yeah. Cosmic cubes, all sorts of things.
Oh man, yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
I'll take it. Yeah, we're cosmic cubing it. I'm Korvac in it. I'm totally going for it. But yes, I will make my roll since I have some dice here. As I'm out and about in the wilderness looking for.
So you got your trait, got my 2 dice. Any pool dice?
Yeah, I used 2 of my pool and I got 1 success. So.
Well, 1 is all you need. I mean, it's binary in this system. So do you want to narrate? Do you want to take a die?
I will narrate because lately we haven't been, because we've been trying to scramble and, get dice and, try to advance our characters. So it's been a while since I've actually narrated or added a little something. I know how. But actually, maybe I find like a clutch of eggs that have not hatched.
Ah.
So instead of finding like new or some of the old guys or some people hiding, I find an actual clutch of eggs that I can bring back, and I will present them to whoever the mid person is, the person who takes care of the egg. So that's what I will bring back this time. I'll bring back, just a big, I guess, sack. I don't know the word for like a thing of eggs, a clutch.
Nidus. Nidus.
A nidus, okay.
Yeah. It's a cool word.
Bring back a nidus of eggs. Yeah, it is. I like it. I bring back a nidus of eggs and present those. So that's what I do for the hive. And, and you know what? Maybe they're not exactly right because they've been in this environment soaking up.
Oh, agreed.
So,
But still, it's
they're
amazing. It's an amazing resource. I mean, you've captured really, you've captured. This isn't salvage, right? This is a big deal. So, I guess that makes a lot of sense. How about other roles, Renee or Helma?
Come on, fingers crossed.
Me or you?
Go ahead. We'll just go in order.
Okay, so I think I'll try my new ability or whatever treat. Share my equipment.
Ah.
So I think I'm not really somebody who builds things. So this is new to me, but I'm willing to put parts of my equipment on the table to kind of pick it apart in the hope we can put it together again.
That sounds pretty awesome, actually. And 2
I'm
dice.
not entirely sure how much of my pool I should spend on not trying to disassemble myself completely.
I have to admit, a failure would be sort of interesting.
Yes, I know. It's very tempting. Okay, I'll pull in one pool dice.
All right.
That makes 5 dice. I think that's a decent.
That's a
Yeah.
serious bonus that you stuck in there.
Yeah,
Mhm.
nearly too much, but I saw Renee's face. I don't want to disappoint anybody. And it's a failure anyway.
No way. But
Yes,
not a disappointment.
No, I
not for
still
me.
love you.
Mhm.
So
All right.
sorry, Ron. You
No.
will have to talk.
That's okay. Actually, I know exactly. This is very clear in my mind. That the effect of detaching and repurposing, stuff from your body, is going to have long-term effects. There, in other words, you are compromised. Therefore you as Hita are no longer the intrepid, warrior of exploration. I mean, you're still fine in lots of ways, but you've changed. This has been sort of a it's sort of the, like in surgery when I was a kid, when adults went in for surgery. I don't know if you guys remember this too. That when adults went in for surgery, they always came back looking way older than when they went in. Right.
Right. A little bit spent.
Yeah. The techniques changed a lot in the 70s and 80s to help with that. But before that, I mean, it was life changing, even if you survived. So it's that kind of thing, basically. Physiologically, your character has aged and been compromised, in sort of sharing out, your equipment, basically. So that's what I'm seeing there. And Renee, how about you?
Well, I wanted to use one of my higher traits, but I think probably the navigating treacherous terrain, that one.
Yeah,
I
that
only have
makes a
one
lot.
dice.
That's exactly what you're doing now that I think about it. So
Yeah.
So that leaves us 4 dice, which is with the pool. I don't think it matters if I had 4 or 16 at this point, but let's see what happens. Oh, it's a failure. Big shock. I've been on a roll lately of failures.
all right, that's true. All right, so in that case, basically, I don't see any way around it. I mean, you're going to end up in a dangerous place again, right? And you were creeping and crawling around in all these weird crevices and stuff like that. So, basically the worst happens. You are, injured and alone and potentially lost. And maybe this is probably the right time for the one legal challenge away for the Dungeons and Dragons Remor has repurposed as a cave creature.
Right.
Right. Now that this is a big, long, sort of praying mantis-y looking thing with, big membranous jaws, effectively. Lots of segments on the body and stuff like that. So just put that into kind of cave creature mode, and that's what now has probably caught you in one of its nasty little traps that it sets. And so there you are, oozing ichor and somewhat immobilized as this thing, you suddenly realize the size of this freaking thing as it arches up over you.
Hey,
That's not where you're supposed to be. Out of there.
You have failed to navigate dangerous terrain, and that's what you get.
that's right.
So
That's what happens.
mhm.
Crazy cave mantis.